It's an earth element problem. Okay, so next is the scalenus. The scalenus are very interesting muscles. What do the scalenus do?
I don't know. What do they do?
Well, they're related to the diaphragm in one way. They both are innervated by the phrenic nerve, the diaphragm and the scalenes. And why? Because they are breathing muscles. So the scalenus anterior is here. It comes from the first rib. And then it comes up to the 7th, 6th, and 5th rib. So it's a really short muscle. And they're a little counterintuitive for people in anatomy sometimes because like the scalenus on the left side, it comes from the first rib and comes back to the transverse process. It's like a rain that comes like, back to the transverse process. And then the one on this side comes back to the transverse process on the right. So the scalenus on the right side, like if I pull them like this, it's going to turn your head to the right. If I pull the ones on the left. If I pull the rein on the left, it's going to turn your head to the right, which is a little counterintuitive, right? Because a lot of people will think that the rotation muscles are like on the back of the neck. Like if it turns your head to the back, it's got to be on the right on the back, but it's actually on the other side, yeah. So when they contract independently, then it rotates your neck. If they contract together, what happens? What do you think? If the scalenes contract on both sides at the same time, what's going to happen to your vertebra? They only attach to the vertebra. But if they pull like this, it's going to pull your neck forward, right? So it's going to cause that like forward, call it protraction of the cervical vertebra. So it's like almost like a bunch of drawers, like a chest of drawers, and you pull all the drawers forward all the way, so you get like this. And that causes a destabilization of the head because the muscles can't even hold the head up when it starts getting too far forward. And then also, if your neck comes far forward, what happens to the space between the clavicle and the vertebra, right? It starts to get, and it gets smushed, right? And if the space between the clavicle and the vertebrae gets smushed, a lot of other important things get smushed. Like, am I in the video? Is it okay? What structure is in between the vertebra and the clavicle? What's a really important structure just to survive? The blood flow to your brain, right? So the carotid artery travels right under the scalenus anterior, right exactly where the scalenus anterior cuts across. The carotid artery comes up, rises up, and goes to the brain, the outside of the head and the inside on the brain, under that one muscle. So if the scalenus anterior is in spasm, it's going to pinch the carotid artery. And if it pinches the carotid artery, there's no blood flow going to your brain, or limited blood flow. And this is a cause of, what do you think? Migraines. Headaches. All migraines. Yeah. Most migraines, most headaches, and all migraines, 100% of migraines, are caused by this. There's no other cause of migraines. There's only one blood flow to the brain. A migraine is defined as a head pain that's caused by a restricted blood flow to the brain. There's only one blood flow. There's only the carotid artery, and there's only one thing that can pinch it, the carotid artery, or the scalenus anterior. So there's no other options for causing a migraine, which is why if you release the scalenus anterior with somebody that has a migraine, it always goes away. 100% of the time, I've never seen it not work. So there's other important things related to the scalenus anterior. What else would you think? What else would you think?
Pulling making somebody almost like a double chin, like pulling the skin.
That is this, I get that. Actually, I'm going to have you work on that. The strap, that's actually the strap muscles that does that.
Oh, okay.
So the function of your different glands in your adrenal system.
That's also the strap muscle. So we're getting there. It's very, very close. We're like within a half inch of that. But the scalenus anterior, it actually, because it's a little further out. That's the throat mechanism stuff. But this is a little further out on the line that lines up with the transverse process, the side of the vertebra. And when the scalenus anterior is in spasm, besides pushing on the carotid artery, it pushes on the phrenic nerve, which is the only nerve that controls breathing. No phrenic nerve, no breathing. And this muscle pushes on it. So it restricts your breathing if it's tight. And it is the nerve that goes to the scalenus anterior. So it actually is pinching its own nerve when it's tight. The brachial plexus is the bundle of nerves that feeds the entire arm, from the fingertips to the shoulder, the elbow, everything in the arm. It's all coming from the brachial plexus. It's three main cords of nerves that come out of the side of the neck, and the scalenus anterior pinches all three of them. when it's tight. So it'll make your whole arm numb, right?
Oh, yes.
And what else does it cause? So it causes nausea, because the vagus nerve also travels down right under the scalenus anterior, and the vagus nerve is the nerve for the heart, and for the stomach, and for the small intestine, and the pancreas, and the spleen, and the liver, and the gallbladder. That's all, just from the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve also gets pinched by the scalenus anterior when it's in spasm. It's crazy, right? I mean, that's a lot of stuff. So if someone has any of those problems, brachial plexus impingement, a migraine, nausea, and so on. This is why people get a nausea with a migraine. That's how you fix it. You just release the scalenus anterior. So to release the scalenus anterior, like if it was on the right side, what I would do is one of the most important things on this is to make the person feel like you really have a hold of their head. If you don't have a good cradle on their head, then it's not going to be comfortable. And you have to clear the ear. See how my fingers straddle the ear? So, so the scalenus anterior it comes from the first rib right in here, and it almost runs parallel to the clavicle. So you feel under the clavicle for a little muscle that's coming across here. Don't poke straight in there. That's a bad area to poke straight into the valley. You want to like feel like a rubber band muscle right under the clavicle, but you don't want to dig like deeper than that. So let me rotate her head this way. See, this is stretching it because the muscle comes from the first rib back to the transverse process. So when I turn her head to the left, it's stretching it. Stretching the scalenus anterior on the left. It's also stretching the scalenus medius. So let me go ahead and press into the scalenus anterior. It is far forward. It's going to feel great when I release it. Okay, so what I'm doing, the carotid artery and all those vital structures are right under your fingers, so you want to definitely just stay on the muscle and don't dive down anywhere below the muscle. So you turn the person's head to stretch the scalenus anterior here on the left, and you press in. This is yang. I'm trying to, waiting for enough energy to go into the point for a release to happen. And then now I'm going to start backing my pressure off and opening space for energy to flow through my body. It's an electromagnetic flow of electrons from the tight muscle to the ground. And the muscle is releasing. There we go. Okay, so now when I bring her head back up, the vertebrae should be released on the left a little bit. See, now there's a little bit of space. I can get my finger under there, where before I couldn't really get my finger under. I better do the right side to even it out. The thought.
Okay. Begin from the beginning, please.
Okay, so I'm just getting the scalenus anterior here on the right side. So the trick is to rotate her head to the right, which is basically rotating the vertebrae to the right. And then you have to find the scalenus anterior under here. Okay, let's see. So I'm increasing the rotation, and then it feels like a bungee cord coming across under the clavicle. So I'm just like pushing that bungee cord like kind of into her body enough to bend it, but nothing beyond that. And now I can start backing my pressure out, which is the yin cycle. Yin is when it starts to release. You'll start feeling a flow, like an electromagnetic flow through your body. And you feel the muscles start to relax as you feel that flow through your body. There we go. Nice. So we got a little release on both sides, I think. Let's see. Your neck is tight.
It's been giving me a lot of
I can
issues.
feel that. Okay, we're going to do this side again.
Really bad.
All right, I'm not going to talk on this one. We're just going to do it. There we go. Needs more over here. All right. Feel better?